Yo, what's up everyone? Hope you're having an amazing day. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, you already know the vibe. So guess what? The Honkai Star Rail Beta 5 just wrapped up and boy, they dropped some bombshell changes on us. Specifically for two upcoming characters, Sunday and Fugue. Now if you missed my breakdown of Fugue's changes, don't worry. Links in the description. Today though, it's all about Sunday. We'll deep dive into his kit changes, figure out if they are buffs, nerfs, or just balance tweaks. And because I know y'all love a good debate, we're also comparing Sunday's kit to Bronya and Sparkle. You might be wondering, are they just reskins of each other? Oh no, my friend, it's way deeper than that. Let's find out who deserves your hard-earned Stellar Jades. But first, grab a snack, hit that like button, and if you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe. Alright, let's jump in. Sunday's Beta 5 changes. Okay, first things first, let's look at what happened to Sunday in Beta 5. Sunday's skill. Before, his skill made one ally and their summon immediately take action, increasing the damage by 40%. If they had a summon, it added an extra 40% damage boost lasting 2 turns. Oh, and if you use this on the beatified state, you got 1 skill point back. However, if the target was a Harmony character, the immediate action couldn't be triggered. Now, pretty similar but with some tweaks. Now it gives a 30% damage boost, and if the ally has a summon, the extra boost is bumped to 50%, the rest is unchanged. Eidolon 1. Before, target characters ignored 20% enemy defense and their summons ignored 40%. Now, it's been toned down to 16% defense ignore for the character while the summons ignore stays the same. Honestly, is this a nerf? Not really. It looks more like they're leaning into the summoning aspect of his playstyle. Buffing summons to 50% damage boost feels intentional. Like they're saying, hey, this guy is the go-to for summon comps. What do you all think? Drop a comment and let me know. Personally, I think the Eidolon changes are no big deal. Most players don't even go for Eidolon 1 anyway. And besides, summons still ignore 40% defense. Alright, let's move on. Now for the juicy part, comparison time. Let's break down the pros and cons of Sunday, Bronya and Sparkle to see how they stack up. Bronya, the OG buffer. Skill. Advances an ally's turn by 100%, dispels a debuff, and boosts their damage by 66% for 1 turn. Ultimate. Buffs the whole team's attack by 55% and critical damage by 20%, 16% of her own critical damage. So, if she has 200% critical damage, you're looking at a 52% buff. Traces. Trace 1, team-wide 10% more damage. Trace 2, team-wide 20% defense boost for 2 turns. Pros. Amazing single target buffing. Still decent in setups like Blade teams. No dependency, plug and play. Cons. Terrible skill point economy. She guzzles skill points like crazy unless you hit Eidolon 1. Limited versatility in skill point. Heavy teams like those with Dan Heng out of meta for quite some time. Sparkle, the skill point queen. Skill. Advances an ally's action by 50% and buffs their critical damage by 45%, 24% of her own critical damage. With 200% critical damage, that's 93% critical damage buff. Ultimate. Recovers 4 skill points and grants all allies Cypher, boosting Sparkle's talent buffs by 10% per stack for 2 turns. Talent. Every skill point consumed boosts team damage by 6%, stacking up to 18% without her ultimate of 48% with it. Traces. Trace 1, team-wide 15% attack buff. Pros. Excellent skill point regeneration, game changer in skill point heavy teams. High critical damage buffs. Works well even outside quantum teams, though her quantum exclusive trace is a nice bonus. Cons. Requires careful team building to maximize her buffs. Can feel clunky without her ultimate active. Only advances an ally's turn by 50%. Cannot dispel debuffs. Sunday, the Summoner Whisperer. Skill. Advances an ally and their summon by 100% and boosts their damage by 30%. If they have a summon, that jumps an additional 50%, lasting 2 turns. After using skill on the beatified, granted by when Sunday uses ultimate on someone, recovers 1 skill point. Ultimate. Regenerates 20% energy for an ally, minimum, and buffs critical damage by 12%, 30% of his critical damage. With 200% critical damage, that's 72% critical damage buff. Talent. Adds 20% critical rate to his skill buffs for 3 turns. Traces. Trace 1 dispels 1 debuff from the target when using skill. Trace 3 guarantees 40 energy regeneration if the ultimate would regenerate less. Pros: hybrid of Bronya's turn manipulation and Sparkle's damage amplification. Insane synergy with summon-based characters, summons finally feel relevant. Buffs both critical rate and critical damage, making him very versatile. Cons: summoning synergy means limited appeal outside specific comps, less direct attack boosting compared to the others. Here is the quick summary comparison for you guys. Critical damage buffs: Sparkle leads with 93%, followed by Sunday's 72% and Bronya's 52%. Critical rate buffs: only Sunday provides a 20% critical rate buff. Action forwarding: Sunday and Bronya advance an ally's turn by 100%, while Sparkle advances by 50%. Skill point economy: Sparkle wins with 4 skill point regeneration on her ultimate. Bronya struggles the most unless you have her at Eidolon 1. Damage boost: while Bronya gives 66% damage bonus, and for Sparkle it was 48%. As for Sunday, he gives 30% for normal, and if Ali has a summon, then it will go up to 80%. Overall, Bronya is the best damage buffer here. Unique buffs: Sunday shines for summoning synergy. Sparkle boosts team damage with her Cypher mechanic. Bronya is straightforward, gives huge attack and damage buff, but lacks modern utility. Etc. etc. Feel free to pause the video to read all of them out. In short, for general teams, Sparkle is versatile and SP efficient. Bronya is still solid for pure turn manipulation but feels outdated. Sunday is the king of summon comps and might be meta-defining in the future. So, who's the best? It really depends on your team and playstyle. If you want raw single target buffs and don't mind skill point issues, Bronya still holds her ground. For energy management and multi-turn value, Sparkle is queen. And if you're running summoning characters or need a hybrid of both, Sunday is your guy. For me, Sunday feels like the love child of Bronya and Sparkle, a perfect mix of utility and damage. And honestly, I think he's going to be meta-defining for summoning comps in the future, kinda like how Robin is for follow-up attacks. I already covered Sunday's future meta video, so you can check that video out. Link is in the description. What do you all think? Is Sunday worth pulling for? Let me know in the comments. And if you made it this far, thank you so much. You're the real MVP. Don't forget to like, sub, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
回来，大球球冰了，二球球敲，三球球菜肴，四球球熬，五球球莫名死掉，六球球抬，七球球闷着头挖坑，八球球奶奶。